Hey guys, welcome. I'm Dr. Gonzalez from Queen Mary Anatomy YouTube channel. So subscribe for more and like this video. And today we have a very special guest. She is Dr. Flavia A. Tejeda-Bayron. She's a PhD in cell and molecular biology, and she's currently a postdoc at Jensen Incorporated. Well, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the invite and for having me here.
So tell us a little bit about that. What are your best study tips?
So I struggled a lot when I transitioned from high school. I'm trying to find a photo that I thought I saved, but I struggled a lot during my first years in college. So the transition from high school to college for me was very rough. I used to just pay attention to the class and had a really good understanding of what was happening. But of course, when you get to very dense courses, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. You're just looking at the professor. So my best study tip is to do, so what I shifted my work, and what I do is that just after a lecture, I would sit down and take notes. So before the lecture, usually the professors and the lecturers give you PowerPoint handouts. So I would print those out because I'm old school. And I would take notes in the class in those handouts. And then after I was done with the class, I would do a full review. So I would sit down and I would go topic by topic with the book and my notes. So I would have a broader understanding of what was happening. And I used to read every single review that I made every single day. And that helped me to go through grad school. It's a lot of work, but when you get to the finals, you'll see that you basically know all the material because you just read it and read it and read it and read it. So I had one notebook per class and I was just fill it with, and then I would ask a lot of questions. I would go to the professor's office hours and just sat down and, hey, I don't understand this. Can you go over this? What did you mean by saying this? What do I need to study or focus my study for the next test? So I would also build up that relationship with the teacher or the professor. So it would be like a helping hand in the course. Because a lot of times we don't want to go to the office hours because we don't want to bother. And then it's time that we're going to lose. But actually, it makes a difference. So study before, study after, review every day, and take advantage of office hours.
I love that because especially now as a professor, I know which students like seek for help. And because of that, I'm aware of their existence. That's one thing with some students, they don't approach the professors, even if it is for just one question or just to say hello. Because then if you just pass by, nobody recognizes you, then how can the professor know if you were a good student or not? I mean, especially if you have like a class where there's like 100 students, it's difficult to keep track of the students. So that's a good, I'm glad that you mentioned that. I love that advice.
Yeah, at the beginning, I was very afraid to go because it's kind of like, I mean, if you think as a student, it's kind of like intimidating sometimes.
It is.
You build that relationship, but it's so worth it to do it. So I would just encourage everyone to like talk to their professors every time.
Right. And then my last question for today is there anything that you wish you knew and you learned kind of like the hard way when you began your career?
Studying. I wish I knew how to study. So no, all jokes aside, when you go from high school, traditional schools, to college or grad school, so every step it's different. So you will not be able to study the same for all those 3 stages. So you need to be very resilient and patient with yourself. but also observe which one is the best methodology that works for you. Usually professors give you a heads up as to how is the best way to study for their courses. So just a heads up, go to that first week and just kind of like knock on the door and ask, because they will tell you. And so I wish I knew that you have to be so flexible and that you had to adapt at the moment and be so resilient, because I used to, and I still do. I get very frustrated when I don't understand something like the first time that someone explains it to me. I still work on that. But yeah, but through the years, I've learned that that is something that you need to develop, because you will not always, sometimes it will click when someone explains it. Sometimes it will make zero sense. Zero. And you will not be able to even identify as to how to start studying for that. So I wish I knew that you had to be so open-minded about it, and that it was okay to make mistakes, because that's another thing. Like, we make mistakes and then we don't want to do it again because like you feel like so bad. But then when you overcome that feeling and you kind of like just like bite your tongue, like let's do this, and focus on the objective, which is learn and pass your class. Because sometimes we focus on passing the class and we forget that we need to learn that in order to go to another course and be successful in that course. So yes, I wish that I would have been more flexible and more kind to myself, I would say too.
I love the fact that you just mentioned being flexible and being kind. Sometimes we, as students, we forget that. And then we are just so hard with ourselves, and that's where like we come up with, you know, things like even mental health issues, you know. I remember as a student, I had panic attacks, I had, you know, so many issues, and I worked through them throughout the years. You're just going like
yes.
that. But that's like, those are things that I also wish I knew before. So thank you for bringing that topic. Look, Carolina is also raising her hand. I think that's something that many of us as students, we go through that. I mean, it's hard. And if you don't seek help, I mean, it's even worse.
And also, as I was thinking, when you study and you want to be successful in a course, you also need to understand how you learn. So for me, it's colors and it's seeing stuff. So I found the picture. So this is how I studied for my thesis defense. So I had a lot of notes.
I see it. Yeah.
On the
wall. Is that your wall?
Yeah, that's my wall. So I would buy like the big notepads and I would stick them in the wall. So every time I sat down on my computer, I would just like sit back and read the notes.
That's amazing. I don't think I've ever done that before, but I love that you brought it. I learn so many new things every time I speak to people. I love the fact that you just mentioned that. I think my students are gonna benefit from that idea. Thank you.
Yeah, and I remember that for biochemistry, for the Krebs cycle. I know. Yes, I am rolling my eyes too. I had a mirror closet. So I would, with a marker, I would draw everything on that mirror. And I'm kind of like narcissistic. I like to look at myself very often. So I was just like sit down and like look at the process as a whole, because if you see it as a whole instead of like boxed, you get a better understanding too. So if you see the whole thing, I understood better. But going back to your mental health, it is very important to take breaks. As much as I studied really hard during grad school, I now value breaks. They recharge you, they give you a new perspective, and they will help you in overcome frustrations, you're gonna do bad. Sometimes you're gonna do bad, and that's okay too. You need to forgive yourself and be kind. So those breaks serve as a jump start to start either the week, the month, the weekend, whatever you want to do. The next chapter of the course. So it is very important to take breaks because you will burn out. And sometimes we think that we're like Wonder Woman or Superman, and we aren't. We really aren't.
Right.
We are humans, and we need to acknowledge that we're human, and we have needs, and we have to fulfill those needs too.
That is so true. I also wish I knew, like, to take more breaks. I don't know if you were one of those, but I used to study for like hours, and then after like 4 hours without taking a break, I was like, I don't remember a thing of what I just studied.
Yes.
And it's because I didn't take a break.
Yes. 100%.
Now I know that.
100%. So I would sit down with the book and kind of like, and then my mind just started wandering. So I would be reading, but then by the next paragraph, I had to stop because I had no idea what I was reading about. So I had to go back, and then so that was like another hour lost. So it's not working harder, it's working smarter.
Right. I love that. That's such a great advice right there.
So yeah, I think that I do have a lot of stories. But and then you will, when you you will have parties, right? And you will want to go out to every single party that you're invited to. But that's not a good idea because you will burn out too. Because you need to rest. That's another thing. You need to sleep. So the same thing. It's not that you don't sleep. You're not gonna study because you want to break and then you go party. No, you need to sleep too. So it's not that you're gonna do something for another. It's just you need time to do nothing. Nothing, and just recharge. Nothing. And then you will have times that you want to go out because you want to go out, you want to listen to music, and you trust your gut and feel your gut. But if your gut tells you to go out every single day, every single weekend, do not trust your gut that much. Maybe ask someone if that's a good idea.
Right. But I feel like, I don't know if this is something you can relate to. The busier you are, the more people want to just, hey, let's hang out or call you or talk to you. And you're like, I'm busy.
Yes. And then the longest days, you get like the best invites. Like, hey, it's restaurant week. Let's go to this place. And you're like, I finished today at 8. So I'm going to sleep. I'm going to pass tonight. And sometimes it sucks to pass. But you need to listen to your body sometimes too. Not sometimes, every time. Like if you're tired, pass it out. You know, the best thing is that tomorrow is not promised, but if you take care of yourself and you rest, you have a bigger promise that you will have it tomorrow to go to that restaurant, to go to that party. So don't overwhelm yourself with a lot of stuff because it's not worth it. Even to party, it's not.
Right. Exactly. I love that. All that you mentioned. Any last thoughts, or Caro, would you like to say something before we just wrap up? I think that's all the questions I have for today.
That's great advice, she said.
Yeah.
But hey, if someone wants to reach out and ask me, especially in that personal student kind of pathway that I took from being like a party animal, not knowing how to study, frustration, up to kind of like get my mojo in the game. And I don't want to say that I have everything figured out, but I do want to say that I have put on the effort and the work so that I can walk towards a more healthy lifestyle, not only like physical healthy lifestyle, I'm fit, but also like a mental space, healthier mental space. So if anyone has a question or wants to share or whatever, my Twitter is FALEX B-A-Y. You will see that I'm not 100% active, so you won't see tweets from me every single day, but I'm there. So just shoot me a DM, and I'll be happy to connect.
That was actually what I was gonna ask you. Like, I was gonna say thank you for everything, and so people can connect with you through Twitter, or is there
LinkedIn too?
Oh, LinkedIn.
Okay. LinkedIn too.
I will add the information on the description of this video. Awesome. So that everybody can know. Okay, so Twitter and LinkedIn.
Yes, and feel free to shoot me a DM, and I'll be happy to connect and share my resources. And if I cannot be of help, or I think that maybe someone can help you better than me, I will make that connection for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think before we stop the recording, let me just say real quickly that I'm so happy that you were here. Thank you for showing us your research. It was so inspired. Thank you for being the first one to be part of this webinar series. Actually, like I said at the very beginning, I'm going to start a series of webinars throughout this semester. Let's see how that goes. And then the series of webinars is just kind of like a reimagined type of webinars where anybody that, I don't know, female scientists, LGBTQ plus community, minorities, health professionals, students, anybody who's interested in becoming a guest speaker, just reach out. You can contact me on my Queen Mary Anatomy, Instagram, Facebook. I'm on TikTok, my YouTube channel, everywhere. You can DM also.
Social media queen.
Right. I'm trying. And then what topics, in case that people are wondering, what topics could be part of this series of webinars? Well, people that are in human biology, anatomy, physiology, neuroanatomy, neuroscience, I don't know, genetics, immunology, anything that has to do with the human body, just shoot me a DM or email me at queenmaryanatomy@gmail.com. And if you want to learn more about this type of information or watch other videos, you can click on the card on top of this video or click on the suggested videos I'm going to put at the end of this video. I feel like I said video too many times, right? Anyways, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share with others. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.